Hello, hello, it's Terry Hartley at Rustic Barn Cards. Welcome, stampers. Look what has arrived, the July Paper Pumpkin Kit. The adventure begins. So I'm going to show you what is inside, and then I will make one of each as it shows in our kit. So we have our stamp set. We have garden green. I have not looked at this yet, so let's look at the stamps. We have a couple of trees. I love tree images. And dream big, aim high, let your light shine, the world awaits you, let the adventure begin, explore, congrats. Looks like we have maybe a couple of butterflies, I think, and some little images here that you could fill in. Maybe on the tree, maybe rain, I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Okay, let me go ahead, and this is next month's the Hope Box Paper Pumpkin Kit, which is designed by Shelley Gardner. But this month, I'm so excited. I have not looked at anyone else's cards or anything. I know some people have started to post, but I wanted to wait till I received it. So I'm going to open this up, and I'll be right back and have everything laid out, and we'll look and see what we have. I'll make one of each, and then I'll show you some alternatives. So here is everything in the Paper Pumpkin Kit. This is an awesome kit, I can already tell, and I haven't even made any cards yet. The adventure begins. So you see the 3 cards, and there's 4 cards of each design. So that's 12 cards. And usually we have anywhere from 6 to 9. So we have a few more cards. Inside you have the directions. It shows you in pictures, so that works for every language. And then on the back, it shows you all the kit components. Supplies for 12 cards and 12 envelopes, and the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors are Basic Black, Bermuda Bay, Crushed Curry, Early Espresso, Fleur-de-Lis Flamingo, Garden Green, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, Night of Navy, Whisper White. And then it also gives you some alternatives and some other information. So let me lay that aside, and let's look at these 3 different designs. Look at this. Is this not neat or what? We have like little window, kind of like trifold, and little window cards. So this little camper, I can go ahead and you just take this out and lay that aside. And then you have this beautiful scene of trees. And you fold that over. And is that awesome or what? And then we'll be adding some other pieces to this. So that's, you have 4 of those. Then we have 4 with trees and a scene, kind of like a mountain scene or hills. And 4 of those. And then we have 4 with a lantern. And the tree and for the background of this. I think that's pretty awesome. And look at these beautiful envelopes. 12 envelopes. And you have like a trim of this color here. And it even goes over onto the other side. I will probably definitely have to use one of these envelopes, open it up and use it as designer series paper, or use it for an alternative card. And then we have some little trees here. to punch out to use. And we have a label with this little arrow kind of cut out right here. And a circle label. Lay that aside. And then we have kind of like a little tag or label with a tree attached. So I'll go ahead and take one out so you can see that. There you go. And of course, we have beautiful embellishments. Those gorgeous. And dimensionals. And glue dots. And as I said earlier, garden green ink spot. And then our stamp set. And of course, the stamp set and the ink can be used over and over. Okay, are you ready? Let's make one of each card. So for the first card, I'm going to use the one with the camper. So you can go ahead and fold that. And then we're going to do a little stamping. We need the tree cut out and our label for a sentiment. I'm going to lay this envelope aside. And so these are little pine needles. That's going to go on our tree. So I'm going to bring in our garden green ink spot. And because it's small, then I'm just going to ink it up this way. Take the ink spot. For me, I find that easier to apply the ink to the stamp. And since this is a photopolymer, I'm going to bring in my Pearson mat. So I have a little bit of a cushion, get a better image. If you don't have one, you can use a magazine. Bring that closer so you can see. And then I'm just going to place this right above a tree. And what I like is that you can, with the photopolymer, you can see through the stamp. So straight down and straight up. And I'll lay this aside. And then we will bring in our label. And I've already mounted Let the Adventure Begin. And on these ink spots, to open them, you just can cut or kind of tear on each side. They're a little tricky sometimes to open. All right. I feel like that A doesn't have quite enough ink on it. So sometimes before I use, I didn't this time, but sometimes before I use my photopolymer stamps, I will press them in Versamark and then clean. And it seems like that kind of helps give me a better image. So we'll see here. Let the adventure begin. So I've turned this over. I mean, that's okay, but I think I can get a better image. So we will try that on the other side. Straight down and straight up. Yes, that's much better. So I'll move this out of the way. And now we will bring in our tree, and we're going to place this tree right here, and we're going to add glue dots to the back of it. And you can use the glue dots that come with, you just I'll go ahead and use that first one. Take off the cap. You can use your fingernail or take your pick tool. but I think it's still on here. Oh, there we go. Sometimes you have to have a little patience with the glue dots that come in your kit. So I am going to go ahead and, for time, and use my roll of glue dots. And I'm going to put 3 on the back. And then I'm going to place this, make sure that you can see the tree. So I'm going to place that right here, get it straight. There you go. And then I'm going to go ahead and add dimensionals to the back of our label. And that's what's nice about cardstock, that if you make a mistake, you can just turn it over and use the back side. So I'm going to put 3 dimensionals. There we go. And we'll place that right down here. Turn it around the right way would be better. And we're going to line this edge of the label right up to the edge of the card. Try to get it straight as we can and have the granny apple green showing. And then we're going to bring in our embellishments. I'm going to put the cap on that ink spot. And I am going to bring in my take your pick tool. I think I'll use the spatula part. And I am going to use kind of like the little orange. And I want to make it just like it shows. So let me look on that front page. And they have one, oh, about right in here. And they have another embellishment down here. And then they have the kind of the blue cast right over, about right here. And I think they have one on the tree, it looks like. And then one, another light one right here. I could be wrong. I should have went back to see how many. We were to use 4, I guess, and I used 5, but that's okay. So here's our first card, Let the Adventure Begin. Isn't this adorable? I just love the trifold and the little window and the camper. It definitely says summer is here. Okay, let's make the next card. For our next card, we're going to use the one with the lantern. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to take this off. And then there's a little on the handle of the lantern. And then we're going to go ahead and fold our card. And there we go. Got my bone folder. I just love this paper pumpkin this month. I think it's adorable. Okay, let's go ahead and do our stamping. So I'll lay that aside. And we're going to use the circle label. And we're also going to be using, which I thought was a butterfly, but it's an insect. So I would say it's probably like kind of like a firefly or lightning bug, depending on where you're from. And let your light shine is our sentiment. So I have it inked up. Let your light shine. I'm going to go ahead and place it right here and press down. And there we go. Lay that aside. And we are going to bring in our card. And I'm going to open it up this way because I'm going to put one right up here of a little bug and one down here. And you see there's kind of a light little circle, so you can kind of tell where they go. And you do have two insects. I'm using the larger one. And then I'm going to put this one just a little bit lighter right down here. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink that up again. And we're going to have one that's going to be on this spot right here. So I will go ahead and stamp the insect right there. So that makes it kind of nice. You can see there's a little white circle, so you know exactly where to put your insects. And our lantern, we need to go ahead. There's a little more on the side that we need to take off. And then I'm going to move this out of the way, and we're going to add our label and our embellishments. And this card is going to be finished. So we're going to turn this over. And we are going to put dimensionals. And we're just going to put them on 3 on the bottom because it's going to go right here. So we're going to put 3 dimensionals. So I have that already done. Let your light shine, and then we will place this right here. And we do need 5 embellishments this time, so I'll bring in 5. We need 2 of the lighter ones and 3 of the orange. And in case you're wondering how I know that, because in our directions it will show you. It has the 3 orange and the 2 lighter, so it shows the 5. This time I'm going to use the putty of my Take Your Pick tool. I want to show you how versatile it is, so I can just slide and then pick that up, and I'm going to place one right down here at the bottom, and then I'm going to slide and pick this up, and I'm going to put it up here, and then again I'm going to slide and pick that up, and I'm going to put that right over here on my lantern. And then I'm going to add one of the lighter ones, kind of bluish tint. Put that right here. And then I am going to add one more of the lighter. And I'm going to place that just a little bit higher right over here on the card. So here is our second window card. Let your light shine. Makes me want to go camping. Go out in the woods. Love, love this card too. Really like this set. Okay, let's make our third card. For our last card, you need the card with the pine trees on it. I went ahead and already took out the middle, and I already have that folded. And you're going to need the label that has the tree attached. The stamp you're going to need for our sentiment is Dream Big, Aim High. And then you will need 3 of the lighter ones and 2 of the orange embellishments and dimensionals. Okay, so I'm going to lay this aside so we can do our stamping. I did go ahead and I've already stamped our sentiment, Dream Big, Aim High. And now we need to bring in our little pine, the tree with the pine needles on it. And we are going to be stamping, laying this bottom of this image at the bottom here. So some of the, and we're going to be adding pine needles to this little tree is what I'm trying to say. So I don't really need to go clear at the top with my ink. But of course, I want to make sure that I have enough covered. All right, so now, and I can press down and press up, and there we have our pine needles added to our little tree. That's pretty cool. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, and I'm going to add a dimensional on the tree and on our label. So I've added 3 dimensionals, one on the tree, one each on the end of the label. We're going to turn that over, and we're going to add this, and we want our little tree. So we're going to put this kind of close to the top of that circle, as it shows in our directions. I'm going to cover up. There we go. And get that even. And now we're ready to add our dimensionals. So we are going to add one of the orange ones right down here. And then the lighter one over here. We'll pick up another orange and we'll add that about right here. And then we'll have 2 more of the lighter colors to use. So we're going to pick one up here and add that right down here. And one more. We'll pick that up. And we'll put that about right here. Oh, I think I lost my... Try that again. There we go. All right, so here is the 3rd card, Dream Big, Aim High. So, and then of course we have our beautiful envelopes. That these match. So we made one of each of the cards from the Paper Pumpkin kit, just as it showed. They're quick and easy. And now let me show you some alternatives that I've made. So for my first alternative, I'm taking Misty Moonlight card base, just 8.5 by 5.5, folded in half, and then Whisper White, 5 1/4 by 4. And then I took one of the envelopes and I tore this back piece off, and I went ahead and made it even, and then I cut 3 rectangles at 1.5 wide. And then I'm going to do some stamping on this. And then on the back, I use some sticky notes to put them together. And then I'm going to kind of add to this DSP. And now I'm going to add some of the insects. So I'm just going to kind of randomly stamp, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring in the smaller one. And we'll do full strength, and then one that isn't full strength. So let's go ahead and add, let's go ahead and bring that off the paper, and then, okay. And then we're going to bring, these might be pine needles, but we're going to go ahead and use this. I would normally use it in Misty Moonlight, but I'm actually not home. I'm on vacation, so I'm limited to the ink colors that I have brought with me. So I'm going to go ahead and use a basic gray. And just go ahead and stamp again randomly. So let me go ahead and finish this and show you the results. And this is the finished product. And now I'm going to bring in, this is from the mini catalog embossing folder, and this Wintry 3D embossing folder. And there are two of them. One looks like snowflakes and the other pine needles. So I'm going to take that layer of basic white and I'm going to place it, and this is a mini embossing folder. So I'm going to place it about in the middle. I'm going to run it through and then I'll do the other side. So I ran this through the cut and emboss machine. This is the first, I went through here and then I went ahead and put it in again. And I hope you can see that. Isn't that pretty? And there is a little bit of a line here, but it will be all covered up. So let's go ahead and put our card together. So I'll be adding adhesive. And you could use either side of the embossed layer. And I may need to trim the other, to start out as the envelope, because I'm going to take these off, and I want them to be just a little bit apart from each other. So I am going to need to cut each of them down a little bit. But I think I will take this off first. And I will want to make sure that I keep them in the right order. So I'm going to trim just a little bit and be right back. So I cut each of them to 1 1/2 instead of 1 3/4. So 1 1/2. And then we will place them down on the front of our card. And leave just a little bit of space in between. You can have them lined up. So I've adhered all 3 of those. I'm going to use one of the tags from our paper pumpkin kit. I'm going to use Dream Big, Aim High, and use the Memento black ink. And then we'll pop that up right here on our card. I like to add 3 dimensionals, and I'm going to kind of do this at an angle. And then we'll bring in our embellishments. And add some embellishments to our card. And we'll add one more right down here. Whoop. Seems to want to stick on me. There we go. Okay, so here's our first alternative card. Dream Big, Aim High. For my second card, I went ahead and I cut off this piece off the card that had the camper on it, and then I cut this piece off the other card base with the mountains. And I'm going to add dimensionals, and I'm going to pop this up, and then I'm going to add this tree right here, and let me show you what we have. So I've added the little lightning bugs, added the tree, and I popped this up with dimensionals. I stamped Explore. And we're going to place that right down here. Going to bring in basic gray card base. And we are going to pop this right up here on our card base. If I was going to make this card again, I probably would go ahead and trim this a little bit shorter so my gray, the basic gray rather, would show on the front of the card. So here is my second alternative card. And I just used a different window from another card base that was behind the camper. This would also make a great shaker card. Any of these card bases out of this kit. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe by clicking that subscribe button down below. That will help me bring videos to you. And let me show you my third alternative card. So this card, I used the basic gray card base, and I used basic white for the first layer, and I also used the embossing folder Winery 3D, and I used this embossing folder here with the pine branches. And I did that. I ran that through the cut and emboss with the basic layer, basic white layer, and then I took Old Olive, like it was 1 3/4 inch, and I also ran it through the same embossing folder. And then I stamped 4 pine trees from the Evergreen Elegance stamp set, this image right here, and then I just fussy cut those out, and I stamped that in Old Olive. And then I stamped The World Awaits You, popped that up on our card. I cut out the camper from one of the card bases that came in our paper pumpkin kit and added some embellishment, The World Awaits You. So let's look at the 3 alternative cards. And I would, we have Dream Big, Aim High, Explore. And you can tell that I love that little camper. I think that is so cute. So I would love for you to let me know which alternative card do you like the best. So leave me a comment down below. And again, I'm Terry Hartley at Rustic Barn Cards. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a great week.